Hello, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me for Library Live and Leo the Library Mouse. We're excited to have you here today. Before we get started, we're going to talk about one of the book care rules. We'll review it. And as always, Leo wants to make sure that you have no snacks and drinks at your iPad station. And this is the rule that we want to talk about. We want to remind you that we should draw on a piece of paper rather than in a book or on your iPad. Now, your iPad on Seesaw does have some digital tools that you can use in Seesaw to do your activities, but we're talking about the cover and just taking good care of your iPad. The book that we're reading today is a Kentucky Bluegrass nominated book. It's called Nobody Hugs a Cactus by Carter Goodrich. We can read a variety of books in many formats. When I read aloud to you, I'm actually using a book, a real book. But on your Seesaw program, there are 2 activities that you can do to learn how to use access ebooks, which are electronic books that you can read from your iPad, such as Macinvia and Tumble Books. The activity will be your assignment this week, one of the things that you can do besides the written assignment. So we're reading for entertainment. This is actually a fantasy because the cactus talks, and we are reading for entertainment. And a couple words that we will be talking about is prickly and skittered. We're also going to be talking about the setting of the story and the problem in the story. What is the setting and the problem? The setting of a book is where the story takes place. The problem in the book is what is going on that the character might have to fix. They might have to find a solution to something. This is Nobody Hugs a Cactus, one of the 10 books that we're working on right now to be able to vote in at the end of March. Nobody Hugs a Cactus. There's the title page. We're turning to the front of the book. Hank lived in a pot. And there's a picture of Hank. The pot sat in a window. The window looked out at the empty desert. It was hot, dry, peaceful, and quiet. Just the way Hank liked it. Now, we already know the setting of the story. It says in our text, the window looked out on the empty desert. So we know that that is the setting of the story. We don't know the problem yet because we haven't read enough in the book. And it appears that the main character is Hank. But every now and then somebody would interrupt Hank's peace and quiet. "Hi, Hank," Rosie the tumbleweed called out. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" Hank ignored her. He just wanted to be left alone. There's Hank. There's Rosie the tumbleweed. "Okay, so long," said Rosie cheerfully, and she tumbled away. Hank was happy again. But just as he was beginning to relax, "Hello," shouted the tortoise. "Private property," yelled Hank. "Keep out." The tortoise was so frightened, he hid in his shell. So you can kind of see what the problem is going to be. Hank, you think about it. What do you think the problem is? You probably thought about that Hank doesn't want anybody around him. He ran off Rosie, and now he's scaring the tortoise. Hank was still yelling at the tortoise when a jackrabbit dashed by. "Hiya, Prickles," she shouted. "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." "Tumbleweeds, tortoises, jackrabbits, what's next?" said Hank. And so we know the problem is that Hank doesn't want anyone around him. I wonder how he's going to fix that problem. A coyote came loping by. Loping means walking or running. No dogs allowed, Hank yelled. I'm not a dog, said the coyote, and you are as prickly on the inside as you are on the outside. And there is that word, prickly. Prickly means pokey. It says prickly on the inside as you are on the outside. Hank is a cactus, and he's prickly. You can see the little prickles coming out of the top of his cactus parts. Before Hank could yell back at the coyote, a cowboy strode past. Keep off the grass, shouted Hank. What grass, said the cowboy. Seems to me somebody needs a hug. Too bad nobody hugs a cactus. So the cowboy kind of tells us how to fix the problem. And what did the cowboy say that Hank needed? If you said he needed a hug, you are right. That is what the cowboy said. Hi, said a lizard. Who invited you, said Hank. And just in case you're wondering, I don't want a hug. That's good, said the lizard, because I don't want to give you one. Then he skittered away. And there's one of our words, skittered. It means kind of like slithered. But he would be kind of walking. And if you think about a lizard, they kind of move back and forth. And they're skittering. An owl landed on the roof. If you're looking for a hug, said Hank, well, I guess I could give you one. So now Hank is offering hugs. Who, me? Said the owl. You must be joking. And for the first time, Hank began to feel a little lonely. So now we have another problem. He's feeling lonely. He scared everyone away. And now he's feeling lonely. The next morning, Hank was feeling more sad on the inside than just prickly. Maybe a hug wouldn't be so bad after all. So he's come up with his own solution, his own answer to his problem. He's decided that he wants a hug. The wind began to pick up and an old cup blew by and stuck to Hank's face. His arms were too short to get it off. Great, said Hank, and look, he's stuck right there. The cup is stuck on his head. And he can't get it off. After a while, Rosie came bouncing by. I'll get it off, Hank, she shouted, and she jumped up to knock the cup off Hank's face. Then she tumbled away. She didn't even stop and say hi. Because the last time, how did Hank act? Think about that. The last time the tumbleweed named Rosie came by, Hank didn't really want to talk to her. Hank didn't have time to thank Rosie. He felt bad about all the other times he'd been so rude to her. Rude means kind of mean, not nice. So he came up with a plan. And I wonder what his plan will be. What will his plan be? You think about it and say it out loud. Well, this is what happened. Hank decided to grow the best flower that he could and then give it to Rosie as a thank you gift. It took days, but at last it was ready. He couldn't wait for Rosie to pass by again. There he is with his flower to say thank you to Rosie for helping him. When at last she finally did come bouncing back, Hank held out the flower. Look, Rosie, he said, I grew it just for you. Rosie was so surprised she jumped and gave Hank a great big hug. It felt so nice. Hank didn't want to let go, and as things turned out, he couldn't. Rosie and Hank became stuck together, and there they are with the flower. They gave each other a hug. But they didn't care. And after all, it's better to be stuck in a hug than stuck all alone. And there's the end of the story. Nobody hugs a cactus. That's one of our Kentucky Bluegrass Award nominated books that we'll have an opportunity to choose as one of our personal favorites at the end of March. We talked about the setting being in the desert, and we talked about the problem was that Hank didn't want a hug at the beginning, and then he changed his mind at the end, and he had to come up with a plan or the solution to how he could get hugs, and he did. And that's the end of Nobody Hugs a Cactus. Happy reading, everybody.